Are you allergic to spring? It can feel that way when blossoming flowers and growing grass trigger sneezing and watery and itchy eyes. Dr. Mark Roth has joined us in the UH Broadcast Center to share helpful ways for allergy sufferers to survive the spring season. Dr. Roth is in internal medicine at University Hospitals. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So are we already into the spring allergy season?
Well, the allergy season does begin in February and reaches more of a peak in March, April, and May. So we have definitely entered into the season.
Yeah, we're going to be in it there for a while yet. So how long does it last then? Really,
the allergy season is going to go all the way through the summer and into the early fall, because there are different plants and flowers that are the culprits in the spring and then others in the fall.
Yeah, so for poor allergy sufferers, it's pretty much all year. It seems like almost.
That's true.
So is there any way to avoid the triggers that can cause the allergies?
So that's a really key thing, as much as possible, to try to avoid the triggers. So the triggers, for the most part, are pollen that come from trees or grass or flowers. And in the fall, the main trigger is actually ragweed.
Okay.
So for someone who likes to be outdoors, it's a little bit of a problem.
So they should stay indoors? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if someone is a serious allergy sufferer, then they should stay indoors during the peak pollen times. So peak pollen times would be in the the mid-morning and in the early evening would be the peak pollen times of the day. So if you want to go out just into the afternoon, it's probably going to be less of a pollen time.
Okay.
Also, after it rains, pollen tends to be washed out and there's a lower pollen count, so that's also a good time.
Okay. Any other weather impact on pollen or allergens?
Yes, so if it's windy outside, there's a pretty good chance that the pollen, which is like a fine dusty material, is going to be blown all around, and it's going to be easier to breathe it in. So that's not such a good time to be outside. Okay.
Now, are there medications that can help allergy sufferers?
There are definitely some very, very good medications that can help. And nowadays, a lot of the medications that are really quite effective are available over the counter. So that's the good news for allergy sufferers.
You just go to the pharmacy and pick something up. What are the options for over-the-counter meds?
The main options that we have over the counter are two kinds. One is antihistamine pills or capsules, and the second kind is nasal steroid sprays.
Okay, so what's the difference, or what's better or worse?
So actually the most effective medication to counteract allergies is steroids. And if you take it in a nasal form, it tends to have very few side effects compared to steroid pills. So nasal steroid sprays are the best. A lot of people don't like to spray things in their nose. So if you're in that category, you do have the option of going to the antihistamine pills, which are not quite as effective, but sometimes more easily tolerated.
Okay, don't those put you to sleep?
So that's a good concern, and we actually have two types of antihistamines. We have the sedating kind and the non-sedating. The old-fashioned antihistamines are the more sedating, such as Benadryl and chlortrimeton. However, in the last 15 to 20 years, we now have a whole host of newer antihistamines that are non-sedating, and they're not quite as strong, not quite as effective, but they are as more easily tolerated.
Okay, you can get them right at the drugstore and try to work through your allergies every year. So great information for us.
Yes.
Thanks.
I think one has to be a little bit cautious about taking over-the-counter medications.
Okay.
If you have a chronic condition or are on prescription medications, then it's possible that the medications you're taking already could interact with the over-the-counter medicines. And so if that is the case, it's a good idea probably to ask your physician.
Always check your doctor.
Get advice as to what's the safest option for you.
Okay, good. If you suffer from springtime allergies, you know they are nothing to sneeze at. But as Dr. Roth pointed out, there are ways to minimize their effects. Follow his tips to help alleviate your allergy issues. My thanks to Dr. Roth for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Learn more by calling the Center of Lifelong Health at University Hospitals, 1-844 312-LIFE or visit their website www.uhhospitals.org/lifelonghealth. Next.